Welcome to the Complete Fitness Podcast with Core 4 Complete Fitness. Your episode is starting in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Complete Fitness Potty Waddy. Hello, it is me, Evan, as you may have already known. If you are one of the few watching on YouTube, thank you so much. Please continue to subscribe. Those subscriptions are growing slowly on YouTube, but that's okay. As long as we're hearing this and having people listen, which we are, we will continue to make them, which is a lot of fun. Check in with yourself. How are you doing? It's been a while. I've done a bunch since the last time I made a podcast, and it's been great. Life's been fun, out of the routine. You know, sometimes it's important to break the tired old routine and get doing other stuff. And 2 weeks ago, I went to Kentucky on a bourbon trail, saw Four Roses Distillery, James E. Pepper Distillery, Castle and Key Distillery. What was the other big one? What's the big one? Oh, Woodford Reserve Distillery. And it was cool. I'm not the biggest bourbon head, but I am more so now. It was fun. It was interesting. I don't love history. Never been a history guy. Never could memorize dates and all of that kind of stuff. But the history of bourbon in Kentucky and all that stuff was really cool to be there and learn all that stuff. So that was a lot of fun. A good little dude's trip. Went with my brother-in-law and his brother-in-law and his father-in-law. So it was a good little family trip down there. It was a lot of fun. And then last weekend, I'm recording this, having gotten back yesterday, we were in North Carolina for my sister's baby shower. She is due at the end of August, and we were down there. And Rowan did great on the flight, which was exciting because I was a little nervous going into his first trip on a plane. But he did great. The first trip down, he slept the whole time. You know, there was like 5 or 10 minutes of him being soothed where he wasn't the greatest, but wasn't by any means horrific. And then fell asleep and then slept, essentially the whole entire trip. It's a short flight. And then on the way back, he would have slept perfectly, but we had a delay for like 30 minutes. We were just sitting in the plane, not moving. So there was this delay, and that's when he slept. So then by the time we actually took off and started the trip, he was awake. But he did absolutely awesome. Just enjoyed everything. Anyway, point is, it was a great time. It was a really great weekend. I was very present the whole time. A lot of times with travel, having to do all of this traveling and now bringing the kid, and it's just a little more stressful, more obstacles to do. The younger version of myself would have really been kind of preoccupied with the stress of all the stuff around the actual fun. And I was talking to Candace last night, and I felt really in control of that. Felt really good. Felt like I didn't have that kind of monkey on my back of, what are we doing tomorrow? What are we doing tomorrow? Which I oftentimes would get stuck in, and it would, affect my day. But I didn't. I just had a blast, top to bottom, start to finish. Got some great time with my family, who I don't see all the time. So it was really a beautiful weekend. It was a lot of fun, and the shower was great. They got a whole bunch of gifts and diapers, which we know are crucial to a new baby. And then my niece is projected to be due at the end of August. Can't wait. So we'll be going down again sometime in the fall, I'm sure, to meet the little Bambina. So that was fun. That's the quick update on how my life has been. But I've been very out of routine, and I did get a little bit anxious to get back into routine. I would run in the morning that weekend, and then the Bourbon Trail. I really didn't do anything that weekend fitness-wise, so it was tough getting back. But the whole week between, I worked out 5 days and then got one run in. So I still was able to keep my, although it was out of routine, I made sure I got those workouts in just for the mental aspect of it. It wasn't because I necessarily was like, well, it's going to be good for me. I'm going to be eating like crap today, so it should be. It wasn't any of that. But I woke up Friday we traveled. So Saturday morning at my mom's in North Carolina, and was just like, I need to get I gotta run first so I can kind of relax and enjoy this day, because I was starting to get, I was tired. Rowan didn't sleep well that night. We had the shower, so we were doing a lot of running around to kind of prep for it, and organizing, and Chandler was very busy, so I was very much on dad duty, and he was kind of fussy because he was up a bunch. And point is, before everything kind of got going, I knew for my mentality and to be able to enjoy myself and have a good day, I needed to commit to this run. And it was brutal. It was so hot and humid. It was like 7:30 a.m. or something like that. And I went for a run, and I figured I would beat the heat, but boy, was I wrong. I was just dripping in sweat after like 5 minutes of running, which was great. Felt really awesome. Anyway, then the rest of my weekend, I felt good because I kind of got that out of my world. And it's something that I think might be learned as you fitness becomes just very routine, very part of your life. You kind of, or I kind of, had the feeling of this day will be fine. Nothing bad's going to happen if I don't work out. But if I do get this workout in, I'm just going to be that much better. I'll think a little clearer. I'll be less distracted. I won't be thinking, challenge to challenge, like, okay, this is when the people show up. This is when we got to be in the car. This is when Rowan's first nap is. This is when Rowan needs to eat. And I oftentimes get stuck in that pattern of what my day is, and it kind of affects the moment that I'm in because of my next to do. But I found that if my workouts are very consistent and I'm challenged and I push myself really hard, I kind of am able to really stay present. And things aren't viewed as much as burdens, which they sometimes can, which creates that overwhelming feeling for the day. And then you get kind of lost. You don't really enjoy it. You're kind of waiting for the shower to be over, or you're kind of waiting for, in this example, or you're kind of waiting for things to get easier, Rowan to be down for the night. And then it's like, we can relax. And that way you miss the whole day, because you're kind of just waiting for when the day is done. And so this is just a weird example because that's what I was doing. It's much more common in the normal routine of our work days. But the point is that workout, I credit to a lot of my peace that weekend. Again, not that it would have been, if I didn't do that run, I would have just been some miserable whatever. But if it took my day from a 9.5 to a 10, it's worth it. We should have as little bad days as we possibly can. And doing something like that 30-40 minute run I did that morning really set myself up for a great day. And that's just very much me focused, but that's okay when you're doing stuff, when you're in the routine of your normal life. Fitness and workouts are for you, and it's for your mindset. It's for your mentality. And yes, every single day that you do work out, you're going to do things to your body and your general health. But the biggest thing that is immediate is the mindset and the mentality. And that was just a good example that I thought of, and I wanted to make sure that I brought back to the podcast. I was thinking about it as I was running in real time and starting to feel like I got my day underneath me. And it's going to be a great day. And I was getting into that zone where I was really just staying present. I got back, I said, oh, what are we doing? Okay, Rowan needs to have breakfast. Let's make him breakfast. I love doing that. And instead of it's a task, like make sure Rowan gets breakfast. It was like, we're playing around, and my mom was there, and it was just fun. And I take pride in the fact that the workout, got done, and I was able to do that. Because I feel like once you can master that, you're going to be consistent. You're going to be way more consistent when working out. If you can just go, oh, today might be a tough one. I'm tired from yesterday. I got a bunch to do today. I don't really want to do much of it. I'm not going to do a workout because I'm so focused on this. But if you can master that, going, because I have to do all this, I definitely got to get a workout in, or I'm going to be lousy today. And then everyone you interact with gets a lame version of you, and your spouse doesn't deserve that. You don't deserve to feel that way. Your children maybe don't deserve that. Your friends don't deserve that. They deserve happy, peppy you. And of course, that's not the way we feel at all times. But if there are things that we can do to control it, it's kind of our responsibility to do it, right? So if I needed to get a run in at 7 a.m. in order to just very much enjoy that day, even if it's 0.5% more than I originally was going to, you should do it. It's good for you. And it's not that hard. It doesn't seem that daunting. It doesn't seem that hard to just be like, all right, it's 30 minutes. And then the other 23 and a half hours of my day are going to be that much better. Simple. It makes you stay consistent. Because you can quickly adapt that mindset to do 5-6 days a week. It's not so much it's not planning big picture. You don't go, okay, it's Monday morning. I got to make sure I work out 6 days this week. It's Monday morning. Today's going to be brutal. Schedule's busy. I want to feel good while doing this. I got to get my workout in. Check. Tuesday. Oh man, yesterday I was exhausted. Tuesday also, I'm pretty busy. And then we also have to do this tonight. There's a banquet tonight. I got to make sure I get my workout in. And if you can day-to-day checklist and get that, it's for me, it's been kind of like this mindset master class hack that I've been able to establish, and it makes me stay very consistent with my goal, amongst other things. But that can sometimes be a day-to-day one, and is in this example of being at my mom's and out of routine this weekend. It was exactly that. So one of the conversations we had, when we're adding these think pieces, I want you to think about is, what's your most quotable movie of all time? Because a lot of times we think, what's your favorite movie? But that's different than your most quotable movie. For me, School of Rock. I know every single word to School of Rock, and I Love You, Man. I know every single word. Now, those are probably somewhere in my top 10 movies if I went through and did all of that. But I can quote the pants off of those two movies, but they're not my favorite movies. I'd say my favorite movie of all time is probably Forrest Gump, because it's 10 movies in one, and it's America's Sweetheart, Tom Hanks. I mean, how do you go wrong? So although that movie's also very quotable, and I can quote a lot of it, I have seen those other two movies way more than I've seen Forrest Gump. But it's just, So think about that one. What is your most quotable movie, and then why? My brother-in-law, I asked him on the road trip down to Kentucky. He said Wayne's World was his. I forgot what he told me his favorite movie was, but it was a different movie. He said that's not his favorite movie. It's the one he's seen the most. So you could argue maybe it is. Maybe it is your favorite movie because it's the one you put on the most, theoretically, in your life, if you've seen it the most. But yeah, something fun to think about. What is the most quotable movie you have in your life? Mean Girls is up there for me, but I think that's more so because pop culture and society started quoting Mean Girls a ton. I Love You, Man, nobody really quotes like me. I mean, obviously that's not true, but every time I say I Love You, Man, a lot of people go, oh, I've never seen that one, or this. It's kind of, it wasn't the biggest blockbuster. School of Rock was pretty popular back in the day, but I still don't think it was as popular as I made it in my own head. I flipping love that movie. But yeah, this podcast, I wanted to mainly talk about kind of switching gears in my trusty, dusty notebook here. Just the avoidance that we get stuck in all the time, and more specifically, the avoidance of adversity. So it does not make sense to think that we can go through life avoiding adversity, right? We know that. There's going to be things that happen. There's going to be more things that happen. As much as you think you have figured out now, me at age 30, I know that I don't have everything figured out. And I know one day I'll be, let's say, 35 or 40. I'm going to look back to me now and think, wow, I was just a kid. I was just an idiot. I had no idea. Just like when I think about me at 25, I think, wow, I was just a kid. I was just an idiot. I had no idea. And then 20, I was a bigger kid. I was a bigger idiot. And so forth, right? So I don't think a lot of times people think of things that way and are able to look in a broadened thought of, I don't got it all figured out. I have more than I figured out 5 years ago, and I'm using that knowledge, the lessons I've learned in the last 5 years, to behave differently now. But I'm also going to be learning for the next 5 years, and then when I'm 35 in my example, I'll look back and be like, oh, wow, I was just a kid. I had no idea, blah, 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 blah. And the biggest thing for that is the adversity. And where it gets dangerous is we kind of can learn how to avoid, challenging things. Big example is when you were young and dumb, you go to a party, you drink too much, and you have weird conversations and interactions, and you'd be angry, or you'd be sad, or everyone has their like embarrassing drunk story or something. You did something stupid that now you can look back at and laugh, but in real time you were probably pretty upset about it. And I don't know why you chose drunk. I think that was just something that people can relate to more times than not, of something you did when you were younger that you kind of grow out of, in a sense, and kind of get a handle on. But it's the same thing. I had opinions, I'm sure, when I was 21 that I don't agree with now. I know it for a fact. But again, it's just because I didn't know anything. And I thought I did, as everybody does. You kind of have this idea that you think you know everything. And just like now, I feel like I'm way smarter than that 21-year-old version of me. And that guy was an idiot. Yet I know when I'm 41, I'm going to look back at me at 30 and be like, wow, that guy was annoying, or whatever goes on in everyone's mind and thoughts, or maybe it's just me. But the point is the adversity. The word adversity is crucial, because we can kind of learn to avoid things, right? So that weird drunk example I use, you kind of grow out of it and be like, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. That's just, I kind of outgrew it. Just like getting in arguments, or you kind of don't waste your breath, or people get really into politics or something, and you go, okay, I've kind of learned in my time that that's a pointless argument. No one's changing anyone's mind. I'm just going to get real upset that you don't believe what I believe, and you're going to get real upset that you don't, and then we're going to be mad at each other, and then nothing's going to change, right? So at least me personally, I stopped talking about that. There's a lot of topics that I just have learned to avoid. And that's adversity, but in a very soft, non-serious way. But in a more serious way, there's a bunch of things that happen in life that we cannot handle. As you age, you have to worry more so about losing loved ones, both from death, right? Because as you age, everyone also ages. And other things, relationships fizzle, and people who were your best friends you never talk to anymore, or maybe spouses, maybe divorces happen. A lot of things happen as you age. Even with your children, you kind of, they're still your children forever, but they're away at school, and so they're not like in your little bubble anymore. So those are things that are considered adversity. But if we were to just avoid it, we would never get better at actually coping with it and handling it, right? And so we need to acknowledge that adversity is coming always, and not as a scare tactic. But the more we can prepare ourselves for adversity, and the more we can be strong-minded and mentally tough, and have the mental toughness to be able to be our best selves in these adverse moments, in these challenging moments, whatever they may be. And there's a million and one different things. The more realistic it is. Like, it's basically saying we shouldn't train ourselves to avoid adversity. We should train ourselves to handle adversity better, because things are going to happen. No one's life is just perfect. Even if it looks perfect from our perspective, some rock star millionaire never had to do anything in his life, is just famous, and they have struggles too, just like everybody else. So I think it's our responsibility to, in real time, prepare ourselves for adversity, and whatever that may be. And that's really definitely a mindset topic, and I don't want to dive too much more into that, but I wanted to relate that towards fitness, of course, like we do on this podcast. And it's like avoiding aging. We can't avoid aging. So what we should do is we should equip ourselves now with the ability to handle aging better. and that happens through moving your body, training your body. We start losing muscle growth, starts deteriorating at age 30. And so as we progress through life, if we stop working out at 30, which a lot of people do, 25, 30, after they kind of get out of their, depending if you play sports and then sports in college and, whatever, your physical activity tends to drop off. And if you don't start picking up some type of regimen to be active and healthy, by the time you're 70 years old, your muscles will have been deteriorating from 30 to 70 for a longer time than they were growing from when you were born to 30. So you would have spent most of your life losing muscle rather than growing muscle. And if we aren't equipping ourselves, what do you think it's going to look like by the time we're 70, right? We can't avoid it. We're all getting there. One way or another, we're aging. And it's what we do now that makes a huge difference. And instead of thinking I can avoid aging, you need to think I need to equip my body to be able to handle aging better. Just like we can't avoid adversity and challenging things in our life. So I need to equip my brain, my mind, my happiness, my emotions, everything. I need to be able to handle these things when they come. And it's never going to be perfect. There's a lot of things that happen that we lose ourselves in, and it's challenging. And that's when you support and get the support of friends, family, loved ones, and all that jazz. And you go through a period where it's really hard, and then you start to climb up out of it because you're tough, because you're equipped, because you've worked on it your whole life is how to handle these things. But the same definitely goes for our physical body. And to me, that was a great way to look at it, and to relate. We can't avoid getting old. Unless we don't make it, but that's not the goal. That's not anyone's goal. So what we do now is thinking of it as equipping ourselves for, by the time we're 70, not really missing a beat. Yeah, we're probably not going to be jumping and doing the stuff that we were, but we might be pretty damn close. You could be surprised. There's 70-year-olds that do amazing things now. Amazing, amazing things. There's 80-year-olds, there's 90-year-olds that do amazing things now. But 70 is just, I've talked about it before. This is a very interesting age in America. I think it's the most interesting age because it's so different. Every 10-year-old is basically the same. Every 20-year-old, every 30-year-old is basically the same, with exception to like athletes. But 70, we got bedbound 70-year-olds. We got people that don't make 70 just because of health issues. And then we have marathon runners at 70. So it's just one of those ages. And I think that's everybody's end goal, is to be independent as long as you possibly can, right? Nobody's like, I can't wait for my kids to have to wipe my butt. Like that's no one's goal. And it really is. It ends up being the things that we do now. So we need to equip ourselves for, how can we be independent when we're 70? Don't let those muscles deteriorate, because they start at 30. How do you stop them from deteriorating? You work them. You got to keep moving. Strength training is important. We should be squatting. We should be deadlifting. We should be pressing overhead and bench. We should be doing body weight things like lunging and hinging and pushing and pulling and farmer's carries, just holding, just like a heavy load and walking for an extended period of time, and yard work and helping people move, lifting a couch up, moving our own furniture around the house. We should be doing these things, and we should continue doing them forever. And then next thing you know, we're 70 and we go, yeah, I just kind of never stopped doing this stuff. But once you stop, you're taking steps back. And if you have stopped, maybe you're hearing this and you're somebody who is 50 and you go, man, I really haven't worked out. It doesn't mean it's too late. And I think sometimes we get caught in that pattern of it's too late. It's not, but you just need to start small. You just need to start one day at a time. And you just need to know that you are in your world thinking about you when you're 70, and you're not comparing yourselves to so-and-so who has not stopped working out, so-and-so who used to be a professional athlete, so-and-so who this, so-and-so who that, so-and-so who that. And simply just know I got one body, I have one life. I'm going to live it as long as I can, as healthily as I can. I want to be able to do things. When I'm 70, if I want to go see the Great Wall of China, I'm going. I'm not going to be limited to get on an airplane or XYZ. I'm going to be doing this. And moving is key. Moving is important. We're meant to move. That's the other thing too, is we are designed to move. People have rules. And I've said this many a time until I'm blue in the face. And I say this on my own, independent Facebook page and my reels I make. It's my biggest thing is we all need to move more. We're designed to move. If you have a car that just sits in a shop, you need to do maintenance on the car. It's not like you can sit a car for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, and then just start it up and drive it out the garage, right? It doesn't work that way. It takes active work to be able to stay primed so that the day comes and it's time to drive that car, you got to go, right? The human body's no different. If we spend our whole entire life sitting at a desk, at a cubicle, and typing and not being mindful of, oh shit, I haven't moved in 6 days. It gets away from us in a hurry, and it gets harder and harder to start again. So if you are just starting, if you are thinking, man, I haven't worked out in 10 years, 5 years, 1 year, 20 years, just start with something manageable. Walk out the front door, stand up, sit down off your couch a million times. Not a million, 10 times, 15 times, 20 times. Get something, and you're going to feel different immediately. Have an energy spike. You'll feel better. And allow that snowball to start. Don't stop. That's the hardest part. If you are listening and you are one of those people, you're at the hardest part. And only do it once, please. Don't stop and start and stop and start and do something that is not sustainable. Join some gym that's way too intense for you. Do some super restrictive diet that isn't going to last long, but it's going to give you quick results. Don't do it, because you're going to be at this exact spot you are right now again. And as you feel, if you're listening to this going, okay, I'm going to get this started once this podcast is done, I understand how hard it is. And so get it going and don't let it stop. It doesn't mean you're going to start working out today and never take a rest day the rest of your life. Maybe you work out today, not the next day, but Wednesday comes. Wednesday will be easier to do it again than it is right now. Or tomorrow will be easier. And you get more efficient as you go. But the start is the hardest part. So please only do it once. Find something sustainable. Walking is the most underrated exercise in the world. And that's because that's how we're hardwired, everybody. We are meant to move. We're not meant to sit around. We feel lousy. Our joints break down. Our muscles break down. We have bad backs. We have bad hips. We have bad ankles. We have bad knees because we're putting on weight, because we're not moving. And our joints aren't equipped to handle it because there's no support around them with muscle. It's just dead weight on not strong bodies, because that's not the way it works. Just like a car. You can't just drive it if it's been sitting around for 40 years. You got to do upkeep. And that's it. It was a wide array of podcasting today, kind of everything. And I hope I spoke to you no matter where you are in your fitness journey. Moving is not an option. It's not something that some people have to do and some people don't. Every one of us has to move. And if you want to be that 70-year-old, which I think we all do, get moving and stay moving a lot. Washing the dishes, doing laundry, going up and down stairs, that is moving. Do it. Do it every single day. But then, of course, we've got to add strength training too. But if you're somebody who's just in a rut, stuck on the couch, stuck in bed, start with that. Go clean out your pantry. Go clean out your refrigerator. Go to the store, walk around, get out of your house, go do something. And it really is quite immediate. If you slow down and capture the moment and be mindful of how you feel before cleaning your pantry versus after cleaning your pantry, I guarantee you feel better. But the hardest part is starting. It's hard to go clean your pantry. I get it. But do it. You deserve it, and all of your loved ones deserve it. And then let that snowball propel you to the next one. Don't let it stop again. Just think about how hard it is. All right, guys, I love you. Core4supplements.com, promo code podcast. Thank you so much for listening or watching or however you are hearing this. We very much appreciate it, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.